When we think of childhood, we usually picture laughter, innocence, and endless energy. But for Juan, childhood was more like a tightrope walk between struggle and survival. His world was full of hunger pangs, leaky roofs, and whispers of hopelessness. But amidst this harsh reality, Juan's spirit shone brightly. His voice, pure and melodious, echoed with a strength that belied his age. But how does a boy from the heart of Manila's poverty-stricken areas step onto the global stage of America's Got Talent? Let's dive into the heartwarming tale of courage, determination, and yes, a little bit of luck that catapulted Juan into the limelight. Juan's early years were marked by the deafening sounds of car horns and street vendors rather than the lullabies one hopes to hear. His home, a small shack nestled in a cramped corner of Manila, offered little respite from the chaos. His father, Miguel, once a strong laborer, had succumbed to the cruel embrace of unemployment. His mother, Elena, a woman whose tired eyes held a universe of worry, worked tirelessly as a domestic help, her hands growing rough from scrubbing floors and washing clothes that weren't her own. Life was a constant negotiation with hunger. Sometimes going to bed with an empty stomach wasn't a choice, but a necessity. In those dark hours, Juan found solace in singing. He would hum softly to his little sister, his melodies weaving tales of bravery and hope in a language that only a child could understand. But Juan's existence wasn't solely defined by hardship. He possessed something invaluable, a voice that resonated with an unusual depth and clarity. When he sang, it wasn't just sound that filled the air, it was emotion. His voice was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, echoing the silent cries of millions who find themselves trapped in the labyrinth of poverty. As Juan grew older, the weight of his surroundings pressed down on him. He saw dreams deferred in the weary eyes of his parents and felt the sting of inequality with each step he took. But despite the bleakness that surrounded him, Juan clung to his voice, nurturing it like a precious gem. Every day, as he navigated the bustling streets of Manila, he would weave stories in his head, stories of triumph over adversity, of hope blooming in the darkest of times. And he would sing these stories, pouring his entire being into every note. One evening, while Juan was singing his usual haunt near the market, a group of foreigners stopped to listen. Among them was Mrs. Patterson, a renowned philanthropist and a judge on the popular TV show America's Got Talent. Touched by Juan's raw talent and emotional delivery, she saw in him a story worth telling. Recognizing the extraordinary gift that this young boy possessed, Mrs. Patterson extended a helping hand. She promised to support Juan, offering him a chance to audition for America's Got Talent. It was an opportunity that could change Juan's life forever. With Mrs. Patterson's help, Juan prepared for his audition. Despite the language barrier, he managed to convey his emotions effectively, leaving the judges in awe. As he stepped onto the set, the studio lights blinded him. The roaring applause was like a physical force pushing against him. But Juan remained steadfast. He closed his eyes, picturing his family, his neighborhood, and all the faces that had ever shown kindness to him. When he opened his eyes, the fear was gone, replaced by a steely determination. But the road to success isn't paved with roses. As Juan began to sing, a hush fell over the audience. The first few notes hung in the air, charged with emotion, pulling at heartstrings. Then came the chorus, a melody as uplifting as Juan's spirit. The judges leaned forward, their expressions shifting from surprise to admiration. Simon Cowell, the notoriously hard-to-please judge, found himself nodding his head imperceptibly. By the end of the performance, the silence was shattered by thunderous applause. The judges, moved to tears by Juan's raw talent and moving rendition, voted unanimously to send him to the next round. Back in the Philippines, news of Juan's success spread like wildfire. People from all walks of life celebrated, their cheers echoing the sentiments of countless others who had dared to dream but had been forced to give up due to circumstances. Juan had become more than just a singer. He was a symbol of hope, a living embodiment of the idea that dreams do come true. However, the real test was yet to come. The national rounds of America's Got Talent were a cutthroat competition. Every day, Juan trained relentlessly, his voice becoming stronger, more resonant with each passing day. He poured his experiences, his emotions, and his dreams into his songs, creating a musical narrative that was uniquely his. His performances were no longer just about winning. They were about telling his story, a story that resonated with millions. As the final episode approached, anticipation reached fever pitch. Juan stood backstage, his heart pounding in his chest. The roar of the crowd was deafening, but he couldn't hear any of it. He was lost in his own world, a world where music was the only language that mattered. When his name was announced, he stepped onto the stage to the loudest applause he had ever heard. The lights were brighter, the audience more expectant. But Juan was ready. He had faced tougher crowds before. The first notes of his song hung in the air, weaving magic that transcended language and cultural barriers. The audience was captivated. The judges, visibly moved, leaned forward in their seats. Juan sang about his struggles, his triumphs, and his hopes for the future. His voice cracked with emotion at times, but it was a beautiful crack, a crack that spoke of authenticity. As the final note faded away, the applause was immediate and thunderous. It wasn't just a clap of appreciation. It was a roar of approval, a testament to the fact that one had touched their souls. The judges were visibly moved. Simon Cowell, who had been stoic throughout the show, was wiping tears from his eyes. "You have an incredible voice, Juan," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "You are an inspiration to us all." The other judges echoed his sentiments, praising Juan for his unique voice and powerful stage presence. It wasn't just the judges who were impressed. The audience, too, rose to their feet, their cheers shaking the very foundations of the studio. Juan had won more than just a competition. He had won hearts. The following weeks were a whirlwind for Juan. He appeared on numerous talk shows, each appearance cementing his status as a star. He used this newfound platform to talk about his experiences, hoping to shed light on the plight of underprivileged children. Back in Manila, Juan's life had changed dramatically. His family's small shack was now a thing of the past. He had a new house, a decent place that was filled with laughter and music. But Juan hadn't forgotten where he started from. He continued to visit his old neighborhood, bringing with him books, food, and most importantly, hope. For the children in Manila, Juan had become a beacon, a shining example that poverty couldn't dim their brilliance. Today, Juan's story continues to inspire millions. He has released several albums, all of which have topped the charts. He uses his earnings to help underprivileged children, ensuring that no one has to go through what he did without access to basic necessities. Juan's story is a potent mix of talent, grit, and sheer determination. It's a story that tells us no matter how tough the situation is, a single spark of hope can illuminate the darkest of paths. We began this journey with a question: can hope rise from hunger? And Juan's story answers it beautifully. Can a boy who owned nothing but his voice rewrite his destiny? Again, Juan's life echoes the resounding yes. His tale is a testament to the transformative power of dreams and the indomitable human spirit. So as you listen to Juan's songs, remember, every note resonates with the echoes of hope, reminding us that the quietest voice can indeed shatter the coldest of hearts. Juan's journey serves as a guiding light, showing us that even in the most challenging circumstances, the human spirit, nurtured by hope and guided by dreams, can truly soar.